Hey there, weary traveler from bizarre world. I see you have passed the twilight zone. I want you hit the fork in the road.
I love it. You guys are so great.
I want you to take the ride.
Ding, ding.
And I pulled you right into the most offensive church this side of the universe. The party pig. We clap for you. Welcome to my humble abode. And what we do here in this most amazing place, we read this great ass book. It's called God Said. What did he say? Because he did not fucking say that shit. We are on part 2 of this book. It's called Jesus Who? Because apparently people don't know him. So I'm going to introduce you to Jesus, the most gangster dude on the planet. He gives no fucks. So I'm going to introduce everybody to baby God, Jesus. We are on Matthew 12. So we are on Matthew 12. So let me know where you're coming in from, what you're drinking, and what you're smoking. I'm drinking some soda and I'm smoking some cigarettes. Waiting for people to enter my humble abode. So, let's share this out while we're waiting. Yes.
Good evening, Nick.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know George Washington's favorite type of music? Well, I heard he loved his country. Have a wonderful day.
Best joke shit ever. I love Google. Google tells me the stupidest jokes ever, and they are amusing and funny. Let's see. I'll share it there. Okay. We'll share it there. Let's share it here. Oh shit. I forgot to call my dad. Ooh. I forgot to call my dad. But I did take my pills, which is cool. We're going to share this right here. And that is it. So, those are the places that we're sharing it. Okay. So, hey, Neil. Hold on. I remember what I was doing. Yeah, I was doing something. Hey, Neil. What are you drinking and smoking? Hi, everyone. Welcome. Press like and subscribe because we are on Jesus Who, the first book, Matthew chapter 12. So if you got Das Bible, we are on Matthew chapter 12. I am waiting for a couple of people. So I see a few of you are here. Chat in the chat, press like and subscribe. And we are about to be on Matthew chapter 12. Let me make sure I can see chat. Coffee and cigs. I'm drinking soda and smoking cigs. I do have some weed, but I took my medicine. So I can't smoke weed right now. No, what the hell happened? Is my microphone working? Something just happened. Okay, I'm on the right one. Okay. Now here we go. Let's fill this up a tiny bit so I can see. Okay. So at that time, Jesus was on his tour, he's on his tour, and he went on the Sabbath through the grain fields, and his disciples became hungry and began to pick the heads of the grain and eat. CNA, why do you always miss the good days? Like, the stream I did yesterday is the stream I did the day before, hoping that you were going to come because, it had a lot to do with the things you asked me about. But you missed it. Sorry. Anyway, Drunken Wizard, welcome. Welcome. We are on Matthew chapter 12. Okay? And I love you and your beautiful ladies. Okay, here we go. So Jesus is on his tour and it stopped. And they were walking, because they were hungry. They were picking some grain. But when the Pharisees saw this, because, these motherfuckers can't mind their own business. Anyway, they said, your disciples are doing what's not lawful on the Sabbath. But he said to them, did you not read what David did when he made up a bunch of men that he was with? All right, he made up a bunch of men and he said he was with them, even though he left in a hurry and there was no one with him. But he asked for some showbread and Goliath's sword, and apparently this was on the Sabbath. Okay. Anyway, he entered the house of God and the consecrated bread, which was not lawful to eat or for those with him, but only for the priests. It's not exactly what happened. Or have you read in the law that on the Sabbath, priests cannot profane the Sabbath and be blameless? Yeah. But listen, I'm telling you, something greater than the temple is here. But if you had known what this means, I desire compassion, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. And departing from there, Jesus is a fucking boss. He takes his tour inside their church. He said, I give no fucks. I give no fuck. And he goes into their own space. He goes into their space and teaches what he wants. Jesus is the most gangster dude I've ever met in my whole life. Because how are you going to not only talk shit, but then go in their house and talk shit. Like, whatever. I gives no fucks. Anyway. So he went into their synagogue, and behold, there was a man with a withered hand. And they questioned him, saying, should you heal on the Sabbath? And Jesus was like, what if you had to hurt sheep on the Sabbath? Is it good to do good on the Sabbath? And Jesus like, mic drop. But they asked him this in order that they might accuse him. Oh, and then he's like, how much more valuable is a man than a sheep? So, is it lawful to do good? Then he said to the man, stretch out your hand, and bam, his hand was healed. But the Pharisees went out and counseled together against him as to how they might destroy him. Why do they got to destroy him for? I love you, drunken wizard. Anyway, why do they want to destroy him? Because they're fucking jealous. See, the shit they do to this man, all out of jealousy, and it's like, why? You don't even need to. But Jesus, aware of this, withdrew from there, and many followed him, and he healed them all, and warned them not to tell nobody. You know, his wellness clinic is going everywhere, and people know his tour is coming. They bought tickets. So they're coming to his tour. They know the tour is coming. But then he's like, don't tell nobody about my wellness clinic that everybody knows about. Interesting. Okay. Behold, my servant whom I've in order that what was spoken through Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled, saying, behold, my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved, and whom my soul is well pleased. I will put my spirit on him, and he shall proclaim justice to the Gentiles. He will not quarrel, nor cry out, nor will anyone hear his voice in the streets. A scattered reed he will not break off, but he will kill a fig tree. Shut up, that's not a thing. That is totally a thing. Look, he definitely killed a fig tree. And a smoldering wick he will not put out, but he will kill a fig tree, until he leads justice to victory. And his name the Gentiles will hope. Then there was brought to him a demon-possessed man who was blind, not so smart, and he healed him, so that the not so smart man knew about the stock market. And the multitudes began to be amazed and say, is this the son of David? Except for he's not the son of David, because how could he be? Anyway. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, this man cast out demons in the name of demons. And knowing their thoughts, he said to them, that is not how you play chess, or checkers, or Connect Four, or anything. That's not a thing. Because if the demon gets rid of the demon, then there is no demon. That's stupid. Look, you're stupid. Wrong. For if by Beelzebul I cast out demons, then by who do you cast them out? Consequently, they will be your judges. But if I cast out demons by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God has come upon you. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Press like and subscribe and chat in the chat. I'd love to interact with you. Or how can anyone enter the strong man's house and carry off his property unless he subdued him first? He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters. Therefore I say to you, any sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven, but blasphemy against the Spirit is not forgiven. And whoever shall speak a word against the Son of Man, it shall be forgiven. But whoever speaks against the Holy Spirit, it shall not be forgiven, either in this age or the next. Either make the tree good and the fruit good, or everything is bad. You brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak what is good? For the mouth speaks out of what's in the heart. The good man out of his good treasure brings forth what is good, and the evil man out of his evil treasure brings forth what is evil. And I say to you that every careless word that men speak, they shall render account for it in the day of judgment. Wait, what is happening? Is evil. Okay, never mind. For by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned. Then some of the scribes and the Pharisees answered him, saying, we want to see a sign. And Jesus is like, fuck off. The men of Nineveh shall stand up with this generation at the judgment and shall condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah. And behold, something greater than Jonah is here. The queen of the south shall rise up with this generation at the judgment and shall condemn it, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, something greater than Solomon is here. Now, when an unclean spirit goes out of a man, it passes through waterless places, seeking rest, and does not find it. Then it says, hey, cousin. It says, hold on. It says, I will return from my house from which I came. And when it comes, it finds it unoccupied, swept, and put in order. And then it calls up his homies, and then shit is way worse than it was before. And while he was still speaking, behold, his mother... yeah. Look. So Jesus' mother and brother showed up, right? And he was told, hey, your mother and your brothers are here. And Jesus is like, my who? I don't know those people. My mother and my brothers are right here because God. Those people, I don't know them. And that's the fucking end of that. Jesus did not know Mary or any of those other people because Mary lied to him his entire fucking life. And he doesn't want nothing to do with those people. He doesn't even know who they are. They didn't follow him on his journey. They were not with him. And wait, we'll find out. We'll find out. But what do you guys think about that? Because that's the end of this chapter, right? Well, we're in between chapters. We're going on to chapter 13 of Matthew. Everybody press like and subscribe and chat in the chat because I'd love to hear from you. And there are tons of people in here waiting to talk to you. And you guys are my moderators. Join my conversation. Talk with me. Like, what do you think about Jesus saying he doesn't know his mom and his... No, he had a Mary Magdalene. Well, actually, it's Mary of Magdalene. And he had all the other women that were on tour with him. Hey, Debs. Okay. Good night. Don't forget to press like. I love you. Oh, shit. It is something. And we'll learn the names of Jesus's brothers. And they are almost the same as his apostles. So it's kind of like Jesus was replacing his brothers with apostles. And he was replacing his mother with other women called Mary. I find I'm not supposed to psychoanalyze the Bible, and we're not there yet. But I do find it highly interesting. He named his apostles after his brothers, and all of his mother figures are named the same as his mother. And then when he says here that he doesn't know his mom and his brothers, and his mom and his brothers are these guys over here, they all have the same exact names. Well, Jesus does. He has many brothers, at least 12 brothers. And he also has a couple of sisters. And we don't know if they killed off Jesus' bloodline or not. If they killed everybody related to Jesus. Right, it is very strange. It's a really interesting thing. And I'm not supposed to psychoanalyze the Bible. I'm not here for that. But I just found it an interesting thing to pass on because I've never heard anybody else talk about it. So I figure I'll talk about it. I don't know who keeps walking behind me. It might be Supersonic.
Yeah.
Okay, it is supersonic. Hey, Miss Muddy. We are going on to Matthew chapter 13. Actually, let's hit this bowl real quick. Because I want to hit this bowl. Neil, you ready to hit this bowl? Okay. Well, I hit it for you. I hit it for you. Okay. Now we are going on to Matthew chapter 13. Okay. And on the same day, he denied his mother and his brother. Jesus went out of the house and was sitting by the sea. Okay, yeah, remember, this was at Jesus's house. And great multitudes gathered to him. So he got into a boat and sat down, and the whole multitude was standing on the beach. So Jesus got in a boat and sat down and started talking to people. Stand up. Talking to people standing up while he's sitting down in a boat. I wonder if he had a projective voice. Well, obviously he did. But Jesus only talked in riddles. So I'm sure only few people could understand what he was saying at this time, because remember, he was talking to the uneducated. Okay. And he spoke many things to them in parables, saying, Behold, the sower went to sow, and he sowed some seeds that fell beside the road, and the birds ate them up, and others fell upon the rocky places where they did not have much soil. And immediately they sprang up because they had no depth in soil. But when the sun had risen, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And others fell among the thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them out. And others fell on good soil and yielded good crops, and became 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. This, Jesus doesn't say this means this, but this reminds me of the kids in the ghetto. The kids in the ghetto are the seeds, and the thorns, and the birds, and the sun, and all that is what happens to these kids in the ghetto. The adults around them are all those things that choke them out and make them terrible. that it's just, it reminds me of that. When I read this, I just think of the kids in the ghetto, and it's like, man, this is some real shit. And I live in the ghetto. I see it. And the disciples came to him and said, why are you talking in riddles? And he was like, to you it has been granted to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been granted. Everyone in heaven talks like Yoda. Like, we talk like Yoda in heaven, and you need to learn Yodanese. For whoever has, to him more will be given, and he shall have an abundance. But whoever does not have, even what he has shall be taken from him. Therefore, I speak to them in riddles, because again, heaven, it's Yodanese. I talk to them in parables, because while seeing they do not see, and while hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. So I talk to them in riddles because they might understand words. And in their case, the prophecy of Isaiah is being fulfilled, which says, you will keep on hearing, but will not understand. You will keep seeing, but not perceive. For the heart of this people has become dull. In their ears they scarcely hear, and they have closed their eyes, lest they should see and hear and understand with their heart and return, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes because you see, and your ears because they hear. Because listen, I'm telling you, many prophets and righteous men desired to see what you see and did not see it, and to hear what you hear and did not hear it. Hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand, the evil one comes and snatches away what has been sown in his heart. This is the one on whom was sowed beside the road. And the one that the seed was sown on rocky places. This is the man who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no firm root in himself, because this is only temporary. And when affliction or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he falls away. And the one on whom the seed was sown among the thorns, this is the man who hears, and the worry of the world and the deceitfulness of riches chokes the word, and it becomes unfruitful. And the one on whom the seed was sown on the good soil, this is a man who hears, understands, and bears fruit, and brings forth 100, 60, even 30-fold. And he presented another parable to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while the men were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed tares also, and went away. I didn't think of doing God voice with the riddles. I didn't even think about that. Okay. Came and so damn it. Okay. But when the weeds sprang up and bore grain, and then the tares became evident also, and the slaves of the landowners said, what is all this? This is gonna hurt the fruit. And the dude was like, no, let them grow up together because we can separate them. Because if you get rid of them now, you're killing everything. So just wait. Okay. And then he presented another parable, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field. And this is smaller than all the other seeds. But when it is full grown, it is larger than the garden plants and becomes like a tree, so that the birds of the air can come and rest in its branches. And then he spoke another one. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 pecks of meal until it was leavened. All these things Jesus spoke to the multitudes and parables, and he did not speak to them without a parable, so that what was spoken through the prophet might be fulfilled. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the foundation of the world. Then he left the multitudes and went into the house, and his disciples came and said, okay, what does the whole tares of the field mean? Hi, Firefly. And he answered and said, the one who sows the good seed is me, the Son of Man. And the field is the world. And as for the good seed, these are the sons of the kingdom. And the tares are the sons of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. And the harvest is the end of the age, the reapers and the angels. Therefore, just as the tares are gathered up and burned, so it shall be at the end of the age. I, the Son of Man, will send forth angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all stumbling blocks and those who commit lawlessness, and will cast them into a furnace of fire. In that place there shall be weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun. Shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears, let him hear. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in the field, which a man has found and hid. And from the joy over it, he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking fine pearls, and upon finding one pearl of great value, he went and sold all he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a dragnet cast into the sea, gathering fish of every kind. And when it was filled, they drew it up on the beach, and they sat down and gathered the good fish into containers, but the bad they threw away. So it will be at the end of the age, the angels shall come forth and take out the wicked from among the righteous, and will cast them into the furnace of fire, where there's weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth. Have you understood these things? And they were like, yeah. And he said, therefore, every scribe who has become a disciple of the kingdom is like the head of a household who brings forth out of his treasure new and old. And it came about that when Jesus finished these parables, he left. And coming to his hometown, he began teaching them in their synagogue. So his tour went to another church. Okay. So his tour went to another church. So they became astonished and said, where did this man get this wisdom and these miraculous powers? Is this not the carpenter's son? His mother's Mary, and his brothers are James, Joe, Simon, and Judas. And his sisters, we know them. Where did this man get this from? And they took offense at him. But Jesus said, a prophet is not without honor except in his own household. And he did not do many miracles there because of their disbelief. Okay, so now we're at Q&A time. So, what did you guys think about that? Jesus is a gangster, though, right? He goes up in their own space and tells them about themselves. Well, I just think it's interesting that Jesus is taking this tour all over the place. Like, he's going into their spaces and saying stuff to them. Yeah. Yeah. But I think, like, Jesus didn't even need a gun. And I think even if he was like alive today, he would have probably been killed way before now. In this story, it had probably been like day one, but I don't know. It's just Jesus is so brazen. Like, he's so brazen. And he is such a guy to admire because Jesus gives no shits about your feelings, about who you are. He only cares about what you did. Yeah, he would have been a way nicer Andy. No. He would have been a way more eloquent Andy. A way more eloquent, less violent Andy. Yeah. His cousins would have been talking about him like we talk about Andy. Yep, for sure. Hi everyone, press like and subscribe and join the chat and let me know what you think about what we just read about Jesus. Like in his shit talking tour. It's going to, like, he's going into these churches and just talking so much shit. Oh yeah, and I'm sure Jesus saved people's ass a few times too, with the way he talks so eloquently. Absolutely. Is anybody ready to hit this bull with me? Where did Drunken Wizard go? Well, we're done for the night because yeah, we gotta be done with that for the night. We're on chapter 14 though. Tomorrow we'll pick up at chapter 14. So I want to tell everybody good night. Yeah, we're about to go to bed. It's time to give the pillows some head and the sheets some ass and have the sweetest dreams ever. Good night, everybody.